Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. It's felt like a fairly normal, a bit quieter week this week on the farm. Not a huge amount of activity, but still a few things that I can keep you updated on. The first one is that the blackberry contractor started and has made quite a lot of progress in just one day. They came in with really big spray units on the back of their trailers, which I think could hold 1,600 litres of water. So that's a lot of spray in one go, and they had 2 of those trailers. They started at the road and worked into our bridge, and then they went to the other side of the bush and worked from the road along that way and got to about the beehives. So there's a section in the middle that hasn't been sprayed yet, but it is the least dense section. Right near the road is where it has been the worst. So it's been really good to get that done. It'll be interesting now to just watch it. I've taken some before photos to see how it goes in terms of the effect that the spray has and how quickly it changes and how much we're able to get rid of. We also had the spray rig and we got out for a couple more goes. It's been given back this weekend, so probably no more, but we did get quite a lot done in a section over in the bush. It sort of started to slope up our hill and there are a few walls of blackberry, quite thick, and then past that was beautiful bush. So if we're able to get rid of those, we're hoping that the bush will be able to grow back down and take over that space. Well, the shed has turned 1, which is really crazy to think about. So this time last year it was literally a shell. We just moved into it. There was no wall, there was no carpet, there was no lounge chairs in here, there was no garden outside, literally just the empty space. So it's really nice to look back on to see how much we've achieved in a year in terms of fitting out the shed, getting the tanks installed, getting the workbench done, doing all of the veggie garden and the landscaping outside, and just making it feel like a real usable and integral part of the farm. It's kind of hard now to picture what we did before because everything we do in terms of the farm life is around the shed. Obviously there are still a few things that need to be finished and there's always improvements and things that are going to change, but we are loving using it. I'm loving it as my office and my workshop and my craft space, and I'm loving it as where we come to do our farm work as well. And speaking of the veggie patch, the tomatoes have gone absolutely crazy. There are fruit on all of them and they're heavy with it, but they're all still quite green. Apparently there hasn't been enough sun to turn them red yet, so we have to be a little patient, but I'm also concerned that the birds are going to have a feast on them before we get to them. So I think I have some netting, so I might try and rig something up to sort of give them a little bit of protection from the birds so that hopefully they can ripen up and we will be able to get our harvest from them, because we would really love to be able to make some tomato relish with what we can get off those bushes. I also cleaned out the first veggie box that we had. All of the rocket has self-sown, so now we have brand new fresh rocket and a lot more than we had the first time. So that will be really great for salads. I'm hoping that the coriander is also going to self-sow. I haven't seen any come up yet, but I've had it happen before, so I'm hoping that it will in this space as well. I pulled out the old cauliflower and cut back the leek and the celery and all that the goats ended up eating, although Nassie did try and eat it as well. I think he would like to think that he is a goat sometimes. It was quite funny. When I was cutting back the leeks, they had these beautiful long stalks with seed pod flower things on the end that are white and pink. So I've cut all those and I'm going to dry those and I can then use them for flower arrangements. They look really pretty. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the celery. I might end up pulling that out and just put in a new bulb just from a celery we bought from the shop. That's what I did the first time around and that worked really well. But I think mostly that area needs to rest a little bit before we end up planting out anything for our winter garden. I published a blog article this week about how I record my repeatable colorways, so creating and then keeping the recipes for all of my colors. It was something that I recorded a video on late last year, but I thought I would write it down as well to provide a little bit more detail, as I've had quite a few people asking about it. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. Can you believe that the only craft I have done this week is to continue knitting on sample squares? I just haven't really been motivated to work on anything else. You would have thought after I talked about my jumper fitting so well last week that I would have mowed it on and been really inspired to finish it, but I think in a way it's made me feel comfortable that it's going to be okay and I can get back to it whenever I like. So what I've been doing is knitting my sample squares. I did one in Golden Ticket, I did To the Fudge Room, and the other one is called You're Turning Violet, Violet. That purple doesn't come out very well here. When I take the photo for the colour page, I'll make sure that it is a proper representation. Purple is so hard to photograph, so it takes a lot of playing around with the light to get it right. So I still need to do one in Millions of Tiny Pieces. This is not going to be enough yarn for that, but I do know that I did crochet some into my latest granny stripe blanket, back quite a few rows. So I am considering ripping that back and reclaiming the rest of the Millions of Tiny Pieces colour so that I can use it to finish a sample square. I'll see if I think that crazy about it. You'll know by this time next week. Oh, and I can hear thunder and possibly rain, so it could get quite heavy here in a minute, so that could be very interesting on the tin roof. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.